You have a crush. No dating app, no text message, no way to casually like their post and hope they notice. No love songs to send them. No flowers to order online. No romantic restaurant to book a table at. No way to slide into their messages at 2 in the morning pretending it was an accident. Just raw, unfiltered, ancient human feelings. And absolutely zero privacy because your entire tribe is watching everything you do. So how did ancient humans actually fall in love? Buckle up, because this story is awkward, hilarious, surprisingly sweet, occasionally terrifying, and honestly, not that different from right now. First things first, did ancient humans even feel love the way we do? Short answer, yes. Absolutely yes. Scientists have found evidence of romantic love going back over 200,000 years. Brain scans show that the feeling of romantic love activates the same dopamine reward system as food and survival instincts. In other words, your brain treats falling in love the same way it treats not dying. Love was not invented by Hollywood. It was not invented by greeting card companies. It was not invented by Valentine's Day. It is literally wired into your biology. It is as ancient as hunger, as ancient as fear, as ancient as breathing. Let that sink in for a second. Okay, let's go way back. 200,000 years ago. Stone Age, early Homo sapiens. You see someone across the cave. Something happens in your chest. Your brain lights up like a prehistoric bonfire. You cannot stop thinking about them. But here is your problem. You have no idea what to do next. No script, no rules, no dating culture, no advice columns, just instinct. Pure, terrifying, ancient human instinct. So, what did Stone Age humans actually do when they liked someone? They showed off. And honestly, nothing has changed. Male prehistoric humans would demonstrate their value through physical strength, hunting skill, and resource gathering. Translation: they would drag the biggest animal they could find back to camp and casually drop it near the person they liked and then try to look cool about it. The ancient version of posting a gym selfie, female prehistoric humans demonstrated value through social intelligence, gathering skill, and community connection. They were often the ones who held the tribe together socially, which made them incredibly attractive in a world where social bonds literally meant survival. And both would use something scientists call ornamentation, flowers tucked into hair, shells worn around the neck, ochre pigment painted on the body in patterns, animal teeth strung together as jewelry. Looking good for someone you like is not a modern invention. Humans have been dressing up to impress each other since before written language existed. We have been doing it for 200,000 years, and we are still doing it. Now, let's talk about the most important difference between ancient love and modern love. Privacy did not exist at all. In a tribe of 20 to 50 people living together in a cave or small camp, everyone knew everything about everyone. Every glance, every conversation, every moment you spent near the person you liked. The tribe saw it before you even admitted it to yourself. Which means falling in love in the Stone Age was basically falling in love on live television with your entire extended family, watching and commenting in real time. Your grandmother had opinions. Your hunting partners had opinions. The shaman definitely had opinions. Zero privacy, maximum audience, maximum pressure. Sounds familiar, honestly. Now, let's move forward in time to around 10,000 BC, the agricultural revolution. Humans stop moving around and start settling in one place. Farming begins, villages form, and suddenly love gets way more complicated. Because now there is something new to consider: property, land, animals, food stores, resources passed down through families. love suddenly has to compete with economics. And this is where arranged marriages begin. Across almost every ancient civilization, marriage was not primarily about love. It was a business transaction between two families, a strategic alliance, a way of combining resources, land, power, and protection. In ancient Mesopotamia, around 3000 BC, marriage contracts were literally written on clay tablets, terms and conditions, agreed upon by both families, signed, sealed, and delivered before the couple had even spent meaningful time together. Love was considered a bonus, not a requirement. Which sounds cold, but here is the complicated truth. Many ancient couples grew deeply in love after marriage. Forced proximity, shared hardship, building a life together. These things created bonds that were sometimes more durable than anything passion alone could build. Ancient love was slow, quiet, built from survival and partnership rather than butterflies and first dates. But it was absolutely real. We know this because of the letters they left behind. Ancient Mesopotamian love letters discovered by archaeologists are genuinely beautiful. One letter from around 2000 BC reads roughly translated as "You have captivated me. Let me stand trembling before you. I would rather be with you than sleep." That was written over 4,000 years ago on a clay tablet. That could be a text message sent last night. Humans have always felt this way. We have always used whatever technology we had to tell someone we were completely gone for them. Now, let's talk about ancient Egypt. Because ancient Egyptians were absolutely obsessed with love. Egypt around 1350 BC had an entire genre of love poetry. Hundreds of poems written about desire, longing, heartbreak, and the joy of being near someone you are crazy about. One ancient Egyptian love poem reads roughly translated as "I found my love by the river. My heart leapt. I would swim the Nile for her. I would brave the crocodiles." This is a man from 3,000 years ago saying he would fight crocodiles for the person he loved. That is more dramatic than anything on modern dating shows. Egyptian couples also exchanged gifts. Flowers, perfumes, jeweled amulets, and handmade trinkets were all common tokens of affection. They celebrated love openly. They wrote about it. They carved it into temple walls. Love in ancient Egypt was not hidden or considered frivolous. It was celebrated as one of life's greatest experiences, which honestly is the most ancient Egypt thing possible. They built the tallest structures in the world just to show off. Of course, they also went completely over the top with romance. Now, let's talk about something that will genuinely surprise you. Ancient love potions were real, and people took them very seriously. Across almost every ancient culture, there were specific recipes for making someone fall in love with you, and the ingredients were absolutely unhinged. Ancient Greeks used potions made from herbs, animal parts, and ground gemstones that were slipped into food or drink. Specific prayers had to be recited over the mixture at precise times of night under specific moon phases, or the whole thing apparently would not work. Ancient Romans had professional love potion makers. Actual people whose entire job was creating potions and spells for the lovesick. They were sometimes celebrated. They were sometimes executed when the potion caused more chaos than romance. Ancient Egyptians wrote specific love spells on papyrus, folded the paper, and placed it inside a clay figurine that was then buried near the home of the person they wanted to attract. Ancient Chinese love rituals involved burning paper offerings and specific herbs at precise times while reciting poems to invoke the spirit of Yue Lao, the old man of the moon who was believed to tie red threads between destined lovers. And in various ancient African cultures, love rituals involved specific songs, dances, and preparations that required the assistance of the community's spiritual elder. Every single ancient culture had a version of this, every single one. Because the feeling of wanting someone who has not yet chosen you is so overwhelming that humans across all of time and all of history have been willing to try absolutely anything to change the situation. The ingredients have changed. The desperation has not. Now let's talk about heartbreak. Because ancient humans felt that too. Deeply. Ancient love poetry is full of heartbreak. The Sumerians wrote about it. The Egyptians wrote about it. The Greeks wrote philosophical texts about the physical pain of romantic rejection. Ancient Chinese poetry about lost love is some of the most beautiful writing in human history. And here is what scientists have confirmed. Romantic rejection activates the same part of the brain as physical pain. When someone breaks your heart, your brain processes it the same way it processes being punched. Ancient humans felt this without having any science to explain it. They just knew it hurt. They wrote about it. They sang about it. They made rituals to try to heal from it. And sometimes they did things that were not entirely rational in response to it. Which brings us to jealousy. Ancient jealousy was spectacular. Ancient Roman records describe elaborate public disputes over romantic rivals. Ancient Greek mythology is essentially one long series of catastrophic events caused by gods and humans being jealous over love. Ancient Mesopotamian legal records include cases of romantic disputes brought before actual courts. People have always lost their minds a little bit over love. That is not a modern invention either. Now, let's talk about the wedding. Because ancient weddings were extraordinary events. In ancient Mesopotamia, the wedding ceremony involved a feast, specific prayers, and the couple being bound together symbolically with rope or cloth to represent their union. In ancient Egypt, there was no formal religious wedding ceremony. A couple simply declared themselves married, moved in together, and the community recognized the union. That was it. Simple, practical, entirely Egyptian. In ancient Greece, weddings were 3-day community events. Day 1 was ritual purification and preparation. Day 2 was the feast and ceremony. Day 3 was gift-giving and celebration. The whole community participated. Marriage in ancient Greece was not a private event. It belonged to everyone. In ancient Rome, weddings involved specific vows, the joining of hands called the dextramiunctio, and a procession through the streets where the whole community would gather to celebrate and sometimes to loudly offer opinions. In ancient China, weddings involved elaborate ritual exchanges between families, specific colors, specific foods, specific prayers, and a ceremony that could last multiple days. Every culture, every era, humans gathered together to celebrate two people choosing each other. That instinct to mark love publicly, to say to the community, "This person is my person," is as ancient as the feeling itself. Now, here is the part that will genuinely move you. Across thousands of years of archaeological excavations, researchers have found something remarkable. Ancient graves with two people buried together, side by side, facing each other, hands intertwined even in death. A pair found in Italy, dating back 6,000 years, known as the lovers of Valdoro. Two skeletons facing each other in an eternal embrace, arms around each other, foreheads touching. Found in Russia, dating back 3,500 years, buried together with their personal belongings arranged around them by someone who clearly understood they belonged together. Pairs found across ancient cultures, buried together in ways that go beyond practical burial customs, arranged with tenderness and intentionality by people who understood that these two should not be separated even in death. Someone buried them that way. Someone looked at those two people and understood that separating them would be wrong. That is love recognized, love honored. Across thousands of years, these were real people. They felt what you feel. They looked at someone and their world changed. They stayed. They built something together. And when one was gone, the other was not far behind. And someone who loved them made sure they would be together forever. So what did ancient humans do when they fell in love? They showed off desperately and hoped it worked. They wrote poetry that would make you cry even 4,000 years later. They mixed potions from ingredients we would rather not discuss. They made promises in front of their whole community. They built lives together from shared hardship and daily survival. They felt jealousy and heartbreak and joy and longing, exactly the way you do. And when it was real, when it was the kind of love that changes everything, they never really let go. Not in 200,000 years of human history has anyone figured out how to make love simple. Not one culture, not one era, not one civilization. We are all equally confused, equally hopeful, equally terrified of the person across the cave. And honestly, that might be the most human thing of all. If this hit you somewhere unexpected, share it with someone you were thinking about right now. You know who it is. Subscribe for more stories about the humans who came before us, and comment below. What part surprised you the most? I will start. The lovers of Valdoro. Still thinking about the lovers of Valdoro.